Imagine an optimized production line running flawlessly until a sudden supply chain shock forces it to a dead stop. The environment you planned for is gone. When rapid disruption hits, traditional standard costing breaks down. We must look at the left column of this syllabus, analysis of advanced variances. Specifically, the first bullet point, planning and operational variances. This framework measures performance when the original plan becomes irrelevant. Intermediate variance analysis relies on a simple calculation. It compares actual results directly against your original budget to find the total variance. In advanced costing, that original budget is the ex ante standard. Ex ante means before the event, the baseline locked in before the period started. The flaw here is rigid timing. An ex ante standard locked in on January 1st becomes entirely obsolete by June, usually due to macroeconomic factors completely outside of management's control. Evaluating a manager by calculating a routine total variance against an obsolete budget conflates poor daily operational execution with unavoidable environmental shifts. Consider a furniture manufacturer projecting costs. In December, they forecast the price of raw materials and lock in their budget. They set a strict ex ante standard of $10 per board of wood. 6 months later, a severe and sudden ocean storm disrupts key shipping lanes, instantly cutting off the global supply chain of raw materials. Because of the sudden scarcity, the actual market rate for that exact same board of wood immediately spikes to $15. The company's operational manager immediately gets on the phone. Through aggressive negotiation, they secure the necessary wood for $14 a board, actively beating the current market rate. Let's run the legacy ex ante system on this manager. We take their actual cost of $14 and compare it strictly to the original ex ante budget of $10. The system outputs a $4 adverse variance per board. On paper, this looks like a failure. In reality, the manager saved the company $1 per board against prevailing market conditions. The legacy framework punishes them for failing to predict a storm 6 months in advance, making it useless for evaluating performance. To extract a fair evaluation of the manager's performance, we must insert a new, realistic goalpost into the equation. In strategic cost management, this new goalpost is called the ex post standard. Ex post means after the event. It is a revised standard set at the end of a period to reflect the optimum achievable performance under the actual real-world conditions experienced by the firm. For our furniture manufacturer, the sudden $15 market rate caused by the shipping crisis becomes our new ex post standard. This diagram maps the official framework. The top layer shows the legacy calculation, actual results compared with the ex ante standard to find the total variance. We know this yields a misleading $4 adverse penalty, so we follow the logic down to the split into junction. The framework deconstructs the total variance into 2 distinct branches, structurally separating the impact of the environment from the execution of the human. Inserting the ex post standard is the only mathematical mechanism that allows an organization to isolate blind luck or misfortune from genuine operational competence. Look at the right side of the split. This branch evaluates the environmental shift by calculating the planning variances. The planning variance measures the gap between the original budget, the ex ante standard, and the revised reality of the ex post standard. If we plug in our case study numbers, we compare the revised $15 ex post market reality against the $10 ex ante original budget. That yields a $5 adverse planning variance. Notice the specific classification above this branch. The planning variance is entirely uncontrollable by operational management. It assigns the penalty strictly to forecasting errors or market shifts, keeping it off the manager's scorecard. Now we shift to the left side of the diagram. This branch evaluates the manager's actual execution on the ground. The operational variance compares what the manager actually achieved against the optimum achievable reality, the ex post standard. For our manager, we compare their negotiated $14 actual cost against the $15 ex post standard. This calculation reveals a $1 favorable operational variance. The diagram formally classifies this branch as the portion controllable by operational management. This number represents true execution efficiency. By splitting the single metric, we successfully transformed an unfair $4 adverse performance review into its true components: a $5 uncontrollable market penalty and a $1 controllable managerial victory. There is a critical, easily missed detail buried within the operational variance section of this model. Right at the bottom, it specifies that these variances are valued in opportunity cost terms. This phrase dictates that any operational inefficiencies, like wasted materials or labor, must be costed based on the value of those resources at the exact time of the event, not when the budget was drafted. If our manager accidentally wastes a board of wood during the supply crisis, the company loses $15, the current opportunity cost to replace it, not the historical $10 budget price. Valuing variances through opportunity cost aligns the accounting system with the real-time economic conditions managers face on the ground. Missing the opportunity cost valuation is a common exam pitfall. Incorporating this value shifts the analysis from simple historical record-keeping into a tool for strategic financial management. Let's consolidate this conceptual framework into the strict mathematical formulas required for the exam. First, the planning variance equals the ex post standard minus the ex ante standard. Second, the operational variance equals the actual results minus the ex post standard. And finally, to reconcile the accounts, the total variance equals the planning variance plus the operational variance. Calculating these three numbers perfectly will only earn you partial credit on a final level strategic cost management exam. The remaining marks depend entirely on your written analysis. You must use the numbers to assign accountability based on the controllable versus uncontrollable matrix we just derived. Advanced standard costing provides the mathematical framework for organizational fairness, ensuring that performance reviews remain accurate and actionable even in an unpredictable world.